Hello there, Seraph17 once again. This is my Witcher 2 Dark Mode difficulty video walkthrough. This is Where is Triss Merigold in Chapter 2, and as you can see, it's night time and we're finding our way into the Kedwenny camp. So once again folks, the continuity of this walkthrough is going to be an interesting thing. The cool thing about somebody watching this who has no bearings on the game and is just watching it because they enjoy the content or they're curious is the commentary and a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in it is stuff that can be handled in any way. It can also be handled at any time once you have the missions available, and a lot of them are available from the beginning, so you're not missing out by not getting the next logical step in my progression, because any of it is progression and it can be done at any time. And this particular part here is one of the main missions because it involves Triss. Anything that involves Triss is generally regarded as pretty important stuff. But we're sneaking into a camp, so there's going to be a bit of a stealth section coming up, and the stealth in this game is something that isn't really done that frequently, and you can understand why when you do it, because it's just kind of, you know, they didn't build a mechanic around it. They just want you to kind of hug the borders and don't go near anybody you're not supposed to go near. It's pretty standard, simple stuff. But here we go. There's your checkpoint. Now we're making our way to the Nilfgaardian camp. Nilfgaard being the army, and then I think it might even be the nation that is raising its way across the land, starting wars. And we're making our way to their territory. And if you play on the Roche side of this conquest, you will actually be in this camp for this entire duration of the level, which is kind of weird. Well, you'll notice there's a crossfade just then, because undoubtedly you might get caught once or twice, and I did. So I come over here, get behind these barrels, and you can tell my pad is he's drifting at this moment because I'm running into walls, which is something I don't really recommend. But the cool thing about this game is you don't seem to make movement sound, and I was expecting to be able to knock dudes out, which would make a lot of sense, but it's not really the way that the game handles itself. So instead, I try going this way. He doesn't see me, but it doesn't trigger anything, which tells me that his awareness is pretty low, so I wait for him to be sick and I come down into this particular area. Like, there's no real science to this moment. It's just kind of make your way to where you need to be and just don't get spotted. I know it sounds blatantly obvious, but as was just displayed, you know, you can get away with some pretty fierce liberties in this particular area. And this right here is the shop. If you're in the Roche's path of the game, I think that path is probably harder than the Iorveth one, just because there's a couple of fights in it which are very close proximity with a dozen dudes, and unless you're going to use bombs, those fights are ridiculously challenging, because you can't evade, and when you can't evade on dark mode, you die so fast. Like, it's not even funny that they allow you to fight in such an environment, because if you're taking on 5 or 6 dudes and they're all smacking you, what are you meant to do? Like, even if you're going to do the block and parry stuff, it isn't effective at multiple enemies, so it's just going to get you injured. It's an interesting conundrum, but like I said, if you use the bombs, then it's just trivial, because you stun everybody and instantly kill them and things like that. But this is the biggest area, and this is the area that leads up to Henselt's tent. But I've just saved, as you just noticed. You should always be saving, guys. Whenever you make any progress in a game like this, saving is tantamount to surviving. Like, the ability to create your own checkpoints is a very powerful tool that the developers can give you, and sometimes I disagree with it, other times I love it. It all depends on what the game is, and I do think that they should balance their game around such powerful features, but not a lot of them do. Like, I'll never forget my time with Max Payne 1 and 2 on PC, which, to my knowledge, did not have a fast save feature, a hotkeyed quick save or anything along those lines. It was just a traditionally checkpoint based game, and I have no idea what's going on here. Apparently I'm tapping A to do something.
You work too hard.
I assume I've just used some kind of Witcher trick on that dude. But Max Payne 1 and 2 on the PC, if anybody hasn't played them, it is significantly harder than it is on consoles. And a lot of people might not understand that, because on PC you've got better control and all that kind of good stuff. You've got a higher frame rate, big time. But it's also more challenging because it just seems to be the hardest version of the game, and I've played all of them because I'm a massive Max Payne fan. And I originally had it on the PS2, and on the PS2 the game was pretty simple for me. On the PC the game was very difficult, and I realised that it had nothing to do with my ability to aim, because Roscoe Street Station is a fantastic practice ground for learning how to aim. Because on Max Payne, if you can't aim, you will die, and it's that simple. But if you get good at aiming, you can, in one shoot dodge, clear a room of 7 to 8 people, because it's an extremely powerful, you know, technique. And I remember being young and getting beaten up by that game a lot, and it didn't have the fancy saving, or it would have been super trivial. Maybe it did and I didn't realise. That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? Like, it had the ability to quick save. Because I wasn't a PC gamer and I was playing on a PC, I didn't realise that was a thing. But I just played it with the traditional checkpoints, which I think you have to. And anybody looking for a really challenging third-person shooter, there you have it, man. Play Max Payne 1 and 2 on, what's it called? It's not hard-boiled, it's Dead on Arrival difficulty. I personally don't think the New York Minute is challenging at all. I just think it's fucking stupid. Like, anything that forces you to rush your way through a level is just not my cup of tea at all. You know, speedrunners might love that mode, but I do not. But keep on following the waypoint as we move through the caves. You'll notice that I've once again got myself endowed with a couple of tonics and various buffs just to give me that little bit of an advantage in combat. This is something that you have to get into the habit of doing, guys, because it just makes everything quicker. You know, dark mode is challenging because everything has big life and you die quick. When you put these potions on, it kind of evens the table a little bit. But right there is a superb, well-balanced dagger. That's another move that you don't see me do, but is incredibly effective. The daggers are very powerful, folks. Like throwing daggers, throwing bombs, all that kind of stuff. Really powerful strategies should you choose to use them. But yeah, Max Payne's, there's a part of me that wants to cover them. Like, crack out my PC versions of those games and do walkthroughs to them. It's just at this moment in time, because I'm trying to grow my channel, I'm trying to do things that are hopefully going to bring, you know, exciting and new people in. Ooh, this is a Bulvar. So, this is the guy that I was fighting in an earlier video in Vergen, or maybe a later video depending on the order that you're watching it. And I couldn't attack him because the midgets were everywhere, the dwarves. Ow. And as you can see, if it was just me and this dude, he would not last very long because we will shit-faced him. But such was not the case thanks to the geometry and because of the AIs. But as I was saying, guys, you know, I'm trying to do things not necessarily in my comfort zone with a lot of it, and it stems from the best way to build a channel is to do something different, and I'm under no illusion that I'm not doing anything, you know, pioneering or frontier worthy. I wish I knew what that would mean. You know, I do spend quite a lot of time thinking about what is the next logical step in the evolution of making walkthroughs on YouTube, and I do suspect that the sad truth of this is to not make walkthroughs and to change them into playthroughs, which, if you remember, guys, was one of my intentions at the start of this year, because I realised that, you know, YouTube is not really a place for walkthroughs, and all the most successful walkthroughs on YouTube are playthroughs under different names, because that's how you get views. And I was quite excited to take the channel in a different direction. It wasn't the direction I originally intended to go in, but, you know, sometimes you've got to do things you don't really want to do if you want to increase and keep on growing. But then YouTube changed its copyright policy, and the only playthrough I was doing at that moment in time was getting massively hit by copyright flags because I was leaving cutscenes in, you know, because I was watching and listening to dialogue and music and stuff like that. So it had effectively killed that ambition, and it's pretty sad because walkthroughs, what more can you do? Like, you can make the production value on them even higher, but unfortunately people don't really understand what that means, and people don't really understand a lot of what is good production, what is hard to do, as opposed to what is simple but looks effective. And I noticed this the other day when I was in a comment section on someone's walkthrough. Like, people seem to think that adding face cam is a difficult thing to do, and anyone who has a webcam and has the basic understanding of overlaying footage in an editing software suite knows that it is the easiest and simple thing in the world. You know, it might take you an hour to figure out if you've never done it before or you've never touched the technology, but once you figure it out, it is literally an extra few dozen clicks and an extra process in the production of something. It is not impressive and it is not hard to do, but some people seem to think that it's this extra step up when, in all honesty, all it is the YouTuber advertising their face because they're turning themselves into a brand, and the most successful method of doing so is to associate and humanize a brand with a friendly smile or a friendly face, something that people can get attached to, can feel like they know, can feel like they're a part of. And I know exactly how to do this, guys. I just choose not to because it was never my intention for me to be the star. You know, my gameplay is meant to be the star. If you see my dozy face while I'm saying stupid shit, which I do all the time, you know, it derives away from what's happening on the screen. And it's not the point at all. And it isn't any harder or more technical than anything else. Like, it's just baffling what people seem to think is putting in the hard work, you know, when you really look into it and you really get down to it. I saw somebody criticizing a YouTuber the other day because they didn't put any effort into their tags, and it just makes me wonder, do these people even know how YouTube works? Because, guys, you can't see our tags. We can put anything in the fucking tags and you can't see them. They're for an algorithm that YouTube has. But what people do, you see, is people put tags in descriptions so that they can constantly be found by the search engine or increase the probability of being found by essentially whoring things that aren't true. You know, putting in buzzwords, popular phrases, popular search things. I searched earlier on today for Deep Down, a game by Capcom coming out on the next-gen consoles. It's very much inspired by Dark Souls, and there's a little bit of early footage because I'm interested in covering it in like a trailer analysis / my thoughts on the game so far before E3. And the first thing that came up in that search engine was a Watch Dogs video. Now guys, why would that be? Do you think it has anything to do with Deep Down being in Watch Dogs? No. It's because the person who's made that video has put that word in the tags as a buzzword to get that hit. And it's effective, it works. It helps if you're a big channel, and it just so happened that he already had 1 million fucking views and 1 million and odd subscribers, so he's having a fun time. This right here is a mage fight, and as I've mentioned before, mages are incredibly simple when they don't do this. As soon as he starts whoring Quen, like, I might as well just turn it off at this point, because there's nothing you can do against him, to my knowledge. You know, there might be some special symbol that you can use that's really good against him when he's in Quen that neutralizes it if you go down a certain upgrade path, but I don't have it, and thus he pisses me off big time. But just fight them, get them killed, and I'm going to continue this topic. Oh, as well, be careful of the Nilfgaardian archers. Archers, really dangerous. These soldiers, really dangerous too. Hence why I just used that awesome move, which I'm hoping looks better in Witcher 3, because it needs to. But the point of it is, you can't see the tags, guys. What you can see is what people put into the descriptions to try and increase their odds of being on the YouTube algorithm, which, to me, and the way I govern my channel, is whoring yourself out, and it's something that I've done occasionally, but but I've always done it honestly. I've always put things that pertain to what was in my walkthrough, and not everybody does, and I don't expect everybody to, because YouTube is a business, guys, and nice guys finish last. It is literally that simple. But tags are important, but mocking somebody, saying that they're not putting effort in because you can't see them whoring themselves in the description of the video, which is not even intended to have the fucking tags, is so ignorant and undermined, and shows that that person has no idea how this even works. And it's just baffling to the mind. It truly is. Because getting tags is easy, guys. You can make them up yourself, or you can go to whoever's the first searched result on YouTube, click the description, and copy the bullshit that they've put. Because that's what people do, and that's the solid truth of it. And it's ugly, but it works, and hence that's why they do it. And it's the same with titles. Like, my title on this video is going to be The Witcher 2 Dark Mode Difficulty. I might have a walkthrough in there if I'm allowed. It'll say Chapter 2, and it'll have the name of this mission, which is Where is Triss Merigold? And to me, that is exactly how this should be phrased. That is exactly how the title should be. It tells you exactly what it needs to be. It tells you exactly what it is. You go on any successful channel, and it'll be whatever the game is, followed by gameplay, walkthrough, guide, part, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, PC, fucking Okama GameSphere, all that other bullshit, and every other thing they could fit in the fucking title just to try and get that extra bit of exposure. And it's a choice, guys, and it's a choice that, you know, you'd be a fool not to take, and I am a fool, but I can't help it. This particular instance here, I found hugging the flame for some strange reason stopped me from getting spotted by those guards. This is one of those weird stealth moments where you get spotted immediately for no real reason, and it feels kind of stupid, but as you just seen, there is a very simple path through it.
Go on, you.
So just keep pushing forward. But as much as I disagree with those methods, you know, I am still going to try and build my channel my way, and it's, you know, it's taking kind of a long time, but at least I can say I did it with some spine, you know. And I've just, the sound you just heard then was the audio mixer in the middle of my headset hitting my chair. Sorry about that. So back to the topic at hand, which was, you know, the Max Payne games. As much as I would love to cover them, and they might be like a guilty pleasure project later on, I need to focus on things that are going to bring traffic, and I need to focus on, you know, the newer content. Because if you don't, your channel doesn't really stand a chance, you know. It's one of those things where the more you limit what you do, the least likely you are to continue doing what you do. Unless you are a focused channel on a certain genre or very specific thing, and you're happy to be that. Because if you get popular doing one thing on YouTube, folks, that is pretty much the only thing you're able to do. Because whenever you try to do anything else, you will be judged, you will face naysayers and people who don't understand how things work, yet always comment the loudest. And it's just the way that it is. And I've remembered the name of these enemies, by the way, folks. They're called, is it Droigas? And instead of fighting the big flappy mess, just kill the wraiths who are trapping the owl. Do not go out of the circle either, it's just not cool. But this sequence is very simple. It seems intimidating, but believe it or not, the owl is so overpowered, there's no chance of anything getting near you. She kills stuff so quickly, it's kind of crazy. But what's going to happen, folks, is once I finish my Wolfenstein guide, which I have, once I finish commentating this, which I'm very close to doing now, it's going to free up, you know, about 100 gigs worth of space on my hard drive, and that's pretty much 1 to 2 more projects that I can start. Because at this moment in time, I have a handful of projects that you haven't seen yet, which I'm really excited to share, but I have to finish what I'm doing first. You know, I like to finish what I start, and we're like 1 or 2 videos away from finishing the Final Fantasy playthrough, which is a super fun playthrough, and if you've not checked it out, you might enjoy it if you like that type of game. But once that's all out of the way, I'm going to do a channel update, and I'm pretty much going to put out there some ideas for some projects that I've been thinking about doing, and whichever one gets the most traction and whichever one people think will be the most interesting to watch, it'll probably be the one I choose. And there's going to be some interesting and eclectic stuff in there because I'm looking to really challenge myself. But thank you for watching anyhow, folks, and as usual, you take care now.